Sunday, and you know what that means. It's time for the All Effin' Wrestling Show. If you don't know what that show is, where the hell have you been?
Yeah. What, you living in a cave?
What do we got on the show today, JFB?
We're going to talk about a couple things in the news, but primarily we're going to focus on the people who made wrestlers better. We're talking valets, managers, people behind the scenes, working the politics, if you will, and within the promotion. All that and more. The All Effin' Wrestling Show. Joe?
Hit that music.
Clear for takeoff.
That's all systems go. Move that AFW logo up. Stat.
You're watching the AFW Network.
Ooh, yeah. That's what we're talking about. Welcome to the show. Good morning, afternoon. If you don't see me till later, keep us up and warm. I am, of course, Chief Shenanigans Officer of the AFW Network. I am the almighty JFB. James.
Oh, yes, you are. And I am your Canadian hero. I am your patron saint of professional wrestling. I'm that gingered up, bubbly son of a bitch. I'm Canada effing dry, baby. AFW. Safe professional wrestling, baby.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Man below me needs no introduction, but I'm going to allow him to introduce himself.
He's going to get one anyways.
Oh, yeah.
You know why? Because it's me. It's me. It's that EVP. Here to talk about some good old, honestly, more of a lost art in wrestling nowadays. The managers of yesteryear.
Yep.
So, yeah. How we doing today, guys?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. So
I'm excited.
yeah, we're not gonna do a news intro. I want to talk. There's two things I want to talk about. One is the passing of George Foreman. He's not a wrestler, but he's been involved in wrestling before.
Yeah, you know what? In fact, let's do George Foreman. Screw Hulk Hogan. He didn't create the George Foreman grill. Let's do a 12-bell salute for George Foreman.
Let's do it.
Halo up for George Foreman.
Yeah, Halo's up for George Foreman, man. What a great champ. I mean, I remember him as a boxer before he became a shill for cooking equipment, the George Foreman grill. But yeah, I mean, the guy was a world champion. After he retired the first time, he came back like 15 years later and won.
That to me is what's most impressive.
Yeah.
Like he retired, came back, and was still good enough to whoop ass and become a world champion.
Yeah.
And not many people know this. I didn't know this until after his passing, but he was a preacher.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. No, I did not.
And he has 8 sons, and all of them are named George.
I did know that.
Yes, which is oftenly mocked, most famously on 30 Rock, where Tracy Jordan called one of his sons George Foreman.
Now, do you think that, I go to heaven, I challenge George Foreman to a match. Do you think he goes easy on me up there?
No,
No,
absolutely not.
Like, because I can take it back up when I'm up there, right? I can he's not going to go easy on me.
No.
Like, I'm pretty sure I could get some
Look,
better
you need a
haymakers.
second. You need a second. Think of this though, because heaven is forever.
Yeah.
There's no getting away from that once this happens.
Joe, talk about John Cena for a second.
Okay, so I haven't really got to say my 2 cents on John Cena, but we talked about it after the show, and I've really thought about it. But then we get a couple weeks go by, and we get his first promo.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I wasn't very – I mean, it's a good promo, and of all the people in the world that could cut a you guys promo,
yeah,
it's John Cena.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he's mad at the fans when he's the one who couldn't win a match for 4 years, and that's the story they've been telling on TV. Like, he hasn't won a singles match in how long? So
it's been a while.
Honestly, the whole story should have been, yeah, I sold my soul, but I did it because I need this world title.
Yeah.
That should be the story. I don't think it should include the fans at all, personally.
Yeah.
So, that kid he's probably Roman's age. He's going, "I love you, John," and then John Cena blasts him. And
Man,
you can pinpoint the moment his heart breaks.
Yeah. That's either going to be the saddest story or that's his villain origin story right there. One of the two.
Oh, he becomes Mr. Glass in the next Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's weird about that last promo was he doesn't really talk about The Rock. He doesn't mention The Rock. Which makes me think maybe he's not really heel.
Whoa.
Maybe he's not really heel.
I don't know. Well, I mean,
I think that's going on a ledge, JFB.
I mean, it kind of is, but when you work with one of the most dynamic people in sports entertainment, like The Rock, when you seemingly form an allegiance with them and then you don't mention them in your next promo, does not make sense. Does not.
I think that was a mistake. You got to include The Rock in this.
Yeah.
yeah, like he's the catalyst for everything.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. Something about it doesn't click. And I think that maybe, just maybe, he's really not heel. And something at WrestleMania is going to turn.
You know what's interesting? We got Dynasty coming up as well.
Yeah.
AEW Dynasty.
Yeah.
And it seems like Hammerstone is teasing something in his social media. Whenever AEW is mentioned, he goes,
Yeah.
And which is interesting because the group that MJF was a part of before AEW was called Dynasty.
Yeah.
And Hammerstone was in it.
A Dynasty? How awesome would that be?
It'd be pretty rad.
I think it would be cool. Hopefully they can get the name rights to the group.
Yeah.
Hopefully MLW will be nice enough to sell it to them or let them use it, whatever it is.
It's possible. I mean, it's not like, I'm sure AEW will offer them a financial contribution and buy it, sell it to them. So, and it's not like MLW is swimming in cash.
No, it'd be really cool too is if at some point we could get some footage from MLW about about Dynasty.
That would be cool.
That would be really sweet.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, I don't know much about MLW. So
yeah. I mean, the problem with MLW is just that they don't have a reach in streaming, So, I mean, for me, like, if you have the opportunity to work with AEW, freaking do it.
Absolutely.
A couple $100,000 and freaking just do it.
Well, even if you don't buy the naming rights, you maybe say, well, how about you help promote our pay-per-view or something, and we make an appearance.
Yeah.
That might be worth more.
Yeah.
than the cash.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's, for me, like I said, I mean, you got to work with AEW. They're number 2 right now.
And it's not even close.
Yeah. And
another thing that they're teasing is Adam Copeland, Sexton Hardcastle, and Christian teaming up against a heel-turned FTR.
Oh. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. FTR and Adam Copeland are like really great friends. Christian is his best friend. And I can't imagine anyone would be angry with seeing an Edge and Christian reunion in AEW. Or an Adam Copeland and Christian reunion in AEW.
Ringside Collectibles has already teased the action set.
Yeah.
Of Copeland and Christian. So you're selling this and you don't actually, and you have them against it doesn't make sense. So you got to.
Yeah.
Definitely feels like we're getting at that tag team as someone.
Well, and also news reports is Ray Phoenix has officially signed his multi-year AEW contract. So
WWE contract.
Oh, a WWE contract. Not AEW. WWE.
Could you imagine if after all this he re-signed with AEW?
I'm just fooling with
you. When do you think he comes in before or after WrestleMania?
I mean, it sounds like it's going to be before WrestleMania, but it's also being reported he's going to be on the SmackDown brand and not the Raw brand, which I think is absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're already doing the trailers for him.
Yeah.
So you lose all surprise after Mania.
Yeah.
By doing the trailers for him now.
Yeah.
It's 6 weeks to Mania.
Yeah.
No, it's 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Well, probably 6 weeks when they showed the first trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I guess like they're gonna do it before, and maybe they have time enough to get him a match or some sort of interaction at Mania.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see.
Maybe being in his brother's corner even.
Oh, yeah, especially if he's going up against Braun.
Yeah, this Braun match
happening tomorrow night.
This Braun match is interesting because there's no way in hell Penta's taking the belt.
Yeah.
Off Braun.
Look,
Breaker.
Just put these guys as a tag team. WWE's tag team division is so bad right now.
Yeah.
You can just put the tag belts on these two, either set, and call it a day, and just let them run the division for a year easily while you rebuild the rest.
Yeah.
But I'll say this: there's something cool about starting singles, because then you can put them together as a tag team a little bit later, and then you have a breakup that you can do and a feud.
To be fair, you can I said this to me just tells me that WWE doesn't care about tag wrestling. Everyone's like, well, you don't want to ruin Penta's momentum. Well, one, it's about to be ruined tomorrow night when he doesn't win the Intercontinental title. But two, it's possible you can have a tag team story and a single story at the same time. You don't need to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
Do we promote? Are we a cannabis store that pre-cannabis gains? It sounds like a corner store that sells weed. You want some gains? Or it's a workout. It's a workout cannabis store. You get some gains with the cannabis, man.
Yeah,
it's cannabis infused whey protein.
Yeah, you get high as you work it out.
Get high while you work out. I love it. You guys ready to jump into the main event?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. This is the main event of the evening. No wrestler has ever really gone in the 60s, 70s, and 80s without someone by their side, be it a mouthpiece, be it the guy who navigates the political rivers, of the wrestling promotion. The manager is a long lost art. And we're kind of seeing a resurgence now, especially in AEW, where we're getting some decent management guys coming in and representing the wrestler. So we decided to come up with a top 25 list, if you will, the greatest wrestlers to ever manage in wrestling history. We're going to go around. Yeah.
Before we do that, JFB, I just want to talk a bit about what a manager is.
Do it.
So sometimes when a wrestler isn't able to fluently talk, they get this charismatic individual who can get on the mic and represent them. But sometimes they are just an accessory.
Yeah.
To make them larger than life.
I would say an extension of their character.
Yes, that is a good description. But yeah, any other thoughts on what a manager is?
I mean, I think that they represent the best interests of the wrestler. I mean, that's, like, regardless of whether you can talk or not on the microphone, your manager represents you. And it is the in-between between you and management. I think that's a lost art that we just don't see anymore.
Well, I think another way to put it is they're just a hype man.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. All right. So
that's good.
We're going to go around the ring, if you will, touching all three corners. What? Wait a minute. What are we in? A TNA ring? We're going to touch all the corner posts, and we're going to go in clockwise order. Yeah.
Breaking news. When AFW has a ring, it will be a triangle.
It will be a triangle.
Don't release the power of the pyramid.
All right, Canada Dry, you go first, my man.
All right, starting at number 25. If we can say the number before we do our bit here. Starting number 25. I'm going with The Undertaker's first manager, Brother Love.
Oh yeah.
I love you. Now, he wasn't there for a long time. But Brother Love's show,
yeah,
was so good.
Yeah,
that I felt like that was enough to get him on the list. That the Brother Love show, he managed enough. He was an iconic character. That's why he's on the list.
Yeah, Bruce Pritchard. I mean, that guy is gold. I mean, he created Brother Love. And while he only managed to take her, what was really cool was the Brother Love show was a platform for the heels to go against Hogan. That was the whole entire reason for the setup. Was Brother Love would introduce the guy coming into the promotion to take on Hulk Hogan.
My benefactor, Ted DiBiase.
You gotta love it. You really do. So, what do you gotta say, Joe?
I think like what sticks out in my mind most is, so mind you, I was born in 1985. So like Brother Love isn't really in my history, but the all white outfit contrasting with the Taker's darkness, I thought was brilliant.
Yeah.
And then another thing, like his red face, and it made him stick out, and it was very memorable. And I think that's a great thing about him.
Yeah.
Like his presentation was like no one else.
Yeah. Yep. So. Absolutely. All right, I'm going to go next. We're going to talk about a man
number
that
24, number 24.
24. If you watch The Young Rock, he was featured very much into it. He spent a lot of time in Memphis working with Jerry Lawler. His friends call him Downtown Bruno. We know him as Harvey Whippleman. He managed Sid Vicious. He managed Kamala. Those were his two biggest ones. He looked like he weighed 90 pounds soaking wet. He looked like Pee Wee Herman, but he was a great manager, especially with Kamala. Sid Vicious, I mean, Sid could cut promos. You didn't really need Harvey Whippleman. I think Whippleman was just kind of the comedic.
He was also a manager to a friend of the show, Adam Baum.
Yeah. Brian Clark. Yep, absolutely. What do you guys think? What do you think, Canada Dry, about?
Well, I think Wimbledon came in when they were short on managers.
Yeah.
Like Jimmy Mouth of the South, he'd kind of been here. Like he wasn't full time anymore.
Yeah.
Bobby was gone, or he was just on commentary. There wasn't a whole lot. Like Cornette wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
So they really needed someone to step up at that time. Like you had Johnny Polo, Raven managing people at that time too. So it was tough times.
Yeah, it was. What do you think, Joe?
I mean, you said it, JFB. Like when I think of him, I just think of comedy.
Yeah.
Like he is, like you said, like 90 pounds soaking wet. He's so tiny, and you have him standing next to Sid or Kamala. And
yeah.
Like it's the definition of opposites attract.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
was it? Didn't he become the women's champion?
I think he did. Yes, he won the women's world title.
Yes, he won the women's world championship.
Oh my goodness!
Thanks, Vince.
I think that's enough to get him on the list right there.
Yeah.
He is a world champion. How many other managers can say that? Not many. All right, Joe, it's your turn, my friend.
Up next, a man that's known not just as a manager, but also as he was the GM of SmackDown, and he was a referee.
Yeah.
But it's Teddy Long.
Yeah.
I can't speak enough about Teddy Long. That man has managed so many people, and he's done so much for the African-American wrestlers in WWE and WCW.
Yep.
He was the manager of Mark Henry for a bit. Jazz. I forget the tag team in WCW with Ron Simmons.
Yeah.
But there are two guys under the mask, and I'm drawing a blank to their name.
Gosh. Well, one of them was Rosie, right?
I can't remember. But in WCW, like he managed, like he's just to me,
Doom.
Yes, Doom. There it is. Yeah. He managed Doom, and like he's your classic. He's a mouthpiece, and he's a great talker. So he's definitely not a comedic, or he was just your traditional got his people over.
Yeah.
Well, when he was GM, he was very comedic.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But we're talking about managers here.
Well, but I feel like his overall career pretty much got him on the list. I feel like had he not gone on and become GM of SmackDown, maybe he's not on this list.
Yeah.
So I feel like kind of like Brother Love. He needed something else to get him on this list.
I'll be back in a second, guys.
Okay.
For leaving, what making you go one-on-one with the Undertaker, player?
player. All right. Canada Dry, you're next.
Did you have anything to say about Teddy Long?
I love Teddy Long. I love him. I mean, that guy was. I mean, he was again 90 pounds soaking wet, scrawny as hell manager. But man, that guy put Doom over. I mean, especially when you're dealing with, two African American tag team wrestlers wearing masks. It's hard to get that over, especially in the old South. So it's pretty ingenious to see Teddy Long being able to put over these guys all the time. One-on-one with the Undertaker.
Teddy's the all-time utility guy in pro wrestling. I think that's true.
Yeah,
that is a very good
whatever you need me to do. You need me to take a tombstone from the Undertaker? Sure.
Yeah. I'll take it. All right, Canada Dry, you're up next, my friend.
All right, for my for the show's
22nd
pick, the top 22 manager of all time. It's Miss Elizabeth. Yeah, she stands by my side, and she's a pillar of goodness as the Macho Man tries to win the world title one more time.
Yep.
Miss Elizabeth. she's just this gracious lady in a world of mud and blood.
Yeah.
She's just this. It feels like she's the queen.
Yeah.
Out there, just like regalness about her. And I tell you, every boy had a crush on Miss Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
How could you not?
Yeah. I mean, she personified. I mean, you had so many came before her. Missy Hyatt, Baby Doll, Woman. I mean, you had these amazing valets.
Yeah, we're counting valets here. She was pivotal.
I think Miss Elizabeth falls under what I said. She was absolutely an extension of the Macho Man's character.
Yeah. And I mean, she, when she left Macho Man, it changed her direction. You were getting into it where you didn't really have a lot of managers anymore. And, she teamed up with Ric Flair, Lex Luger. She was in the NWO. She lost that sparkle. And
she was kind of directionless for her character.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, she passed away. Not to beat around the bush, but Lex Luger killed her. And I mean, he's even admitted.
Oh, no, Lex Luger didn't kill her. Drugs killed her.
Well, no, Lex Luger killed her.
We're going to agree to disagree because when you are held over by addiction, you have a sickness, and like you offer drugs to someone, you're not holding a gun to their head.
Yeah.
They make the choice too.
I mean, he absolutely played a role in it.
Yes, for sure. I don't doubt that.
But she was also the one who was making the decision to do it. Yeah. And like you said, addiction is horrible. So I say, get help.
Yeah.
There's help out there to be had.
Yeah.
Don't let it beat you. There's no reason to.
Yeah. I mean,
the other thing I want to say about Miss Elizabeth really quickly is Macho Man used her perfectly.
Yeah.
Like he's getting attacked by the hero. He'll put Miss Elizabeth in front of him.
Yeah.
Like this was gold.
Like when I think of Miss Elizabeth, like for me, she is the first woman of professional wrestling.
Oh, for sure.
That's who comes to mind.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm going to go next. We're going to talk about Miss Deborah. This is number 21, Miss Deborah. The two most famous people she managed was Double J, Jeff Jarrett, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who she married.
Did she actually manage him?
Huh?
Was she actually a manager of his?
I think she did manage.
Of Austin?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Was this in WCW?
No, this was in she managed Austin in WWF because I remember her. I can't remember who it was, but there was a feud. Maybe it was Austin and The Rock, but I distinctly remember Austin threatening The Rock, saying, "You watch her, or if anything happens to you, I'm gonna kill you," type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And Steve Mongo McMichael was some of the people that she managed. She was charismatic. I mean, she was devilish, and she was a really good heel manager.
And I guess she technically managed Owen Hart too.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about her, Canada?
I think she fit that time when the ratings were all about scandalous stuff, puppies and all that kind of stuff, and risque sort of things. Yeah, and she fit that to a T, and she did it well.
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Joe.
Yeah, I think she was better in WCW with Mongo.
Yeah,
like being involved with the Four Horsemen and everything, more than she was in WWF.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Dime Drawer said she was at the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
So
she was Steve Mongo McMichael.
Yeah. And Cannabis Gain says the night that business suit she wore, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that white suit just
Yep. Oh boy.
Tight. You meant tight, not
Yeah.
the right.
Let's go to EVP Joe.
okay. Up next is
Number 20.
arguably the manager of the best tag team in the history of wrestling, some will say.
Yeah.
But it's Paul Ellering, who managed the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, Authors of Pain.
Yeah.
Wasn't used nearly as correctly as he should have
Oh,
been.
I thought you were going to say he was the Authors of Pain of the best tag team of all time.
Oh, no. Boy, no. No, but like, he's just like, he was, to me, more like, I don't know much about his, I know of him.
Yeah.
But like, he strikes me as another one of those just extension of the character because he dressed the part. He was mean. I can't get over the puppet that he had. That was really weird. But I'll let you guys talk a little more about it.
I love Precious Paul Ellering. I mean, his daughter's in professional wrestling, so he's this, she's the second generation. He was amazing. He was just absolutely the perfect fit for the Road Warriors. He was their mouthpiece. They did the destruction. He would introduce, they go to a new promotion. He would introduce them. They come in, they clear it all. Absolutely amazing character, not utilized nearly enough in the later part of his career, and especially with whatever the foundation or whatever the hell the name of this new Karrion Kross faction was. Just criminally underutilized. But we're at a time in WWE where you don't have managers. And so there's no need to carry on Paul Ellering. So what do you think, Canada?
But Paul Ellering, I vaguely remember this puppet thing. Was this WWE?
Yeah.
What was the puppet?
I don't remember. Hold on.
I vaguely remember this puppet thing. Was it part of like their shtick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I always felt that he wasn't with LOD enough. Like he was there, then he wasn't. He was there, then he wasn't, and he wasn't included enough.
Yeah.
I feel
his name was Rocco.
Yeah.
What was the soccer's name?
Rocco.
Okay. What was it?
Just a ventriloquist puppet.
Yeah.
Just like it was nothing special. Didn't have like LOD stuff in.
Nope.
But yeah, Paul Ellering. Fact. Tiffany has a crush on his wrinkled old balls. This is what she was telling me not to say.
Don't say it, Canada. Right. All right, Canada Dry, you're up next.
All right. For number 19, I'm going with the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Now, he had I guess he had to end his career early. He had some injuries or whatever, and so WWE thought to make him a manager. And this is the time when Bobby Heenan was gone, and he kind of filled that hole that Bobby Heenan left with the $1 Million Corporation.
Yeah.
And he was good. And his original role in WCW was supposed to be the talking piece for the NWO.
He was the benefactor of the NWO.
Yeah, and he was the talker.
Yep.
And then that changed to Eric Bischoff, and then he didn't have a role.
Yeah.
So then he was just doing. He got paid to stay home.
Yeah.
But Ted DiBiase, hell of a manager.
Yeah. Yeah. I will always remember him more fondly for his career and ripping off the poor in the state of Mississippi. I mean, that's where he'll always hold a special place in my heart. But yeah, I mean, he was a really good manager. I mean, the more I think about his managerial role and how he really worked that role, makes me appreciate him a little bit more than when I originally was watching him in his managerial role.
Well, he made Tatanka sell his soul. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. Cherokee people, Cherokee pride. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I loved Ted as a heel. Like, he was so great. Like, I remember him sitting there paying a kid to bounce the ball 20 times, and at 19 he swats it away or kicks it. He just had that charisma. Like,
Yeah.
I know he was also the manager of Steve Austin before he was Stone Cold.
That's right.
And he was his protege, the $1 Million Man's protege. And I loved that custom belt, the $1 Million Championship. Such a pretty belt. Like, I loved it.
All right. I'm next. We're going to talk about Stokely Hathaway. He's a relatively newcomer. He cut his teeth in WWE, independent circuits. He has been more prominent in AEW as of recent. Outside of the diamond mine that he managed in WWE and NXT, Stokely managed Jade Cargill, Willow, and Statlander in AEW. Currently without a job. He's not with anybody currently right now.
Is he still up running ROH?
I think so. Yeah. But really, way better on commentary. Why AEW is not using him on commentary rather than Daddy Magic is beyond me. Stokely is gold. This guy is funnier than shit. Anytime this guy talks, I laugh my ass off.
My favorite line that he said was he was talking to, I think it was Statlander backstage. And he said, beside my own actions, what did I do to deserve this?
Ken, decide what you think about Stokely
Hathaway is how good he is. The untapped potential alone put him on this list.
Yeah.
That's how good he is.
Yeah.
We didn't, we seen him in Diamond Mine in WWE. We seen him with Statlander, different people, Jade Cargill, all that stuff. But those little tastes of Stokely Hathaway put him on this list at number 18.
Yeah.
And he could climb up there if he gets utilized more.
Yeah.
Or he could go down and fade away into obscurity.
What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, he's just this is the classic, just your heel comedy character manager. There to take the bumps from the good guy to protect the bad guy.
Yep.
But yeah, he's great. I love him. His comedic comedy, like his comedy is like second to none right now. So
why he's not on commentary, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't want to do it. I don't know.
I'd do it. I'd be on commentary all the time. Him and Tony Storm. They should be like a 10-man commentary team, like in Naked Gun, where they're doing the baseball game and it's like 20 commentators all from Major League Baseball. All right.
It kind of looks like Byron Hinton.
Yeah, he does. All right, let's go to number 17. Joe.
Okay. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know this person, so I'm going to rely on JFB Canada Dry here. But it's the Grand Wizard. Don't really know this person. I might know once you all talk about him and it jogs my mind.
Yeah. He always wore a mask and a turban. I always remember wearing either a mask or a turban. I know he always wore a turban, but he was the manager of the original Sheik. He was actually the manager of Mr. Fuji, who became a manager. He was a manager of Pat Patterson, the first ever Intercontinental Champion. He was one of the original periodically we'll talk about it throughout this list about the Terrible Three. This is the three managers in the 80s. You used to call themselves the Terrible Triad or the Terrible Threesome. It was Captain Lou Albano, Classy Freddie Blassie, and the Grand Wizard. And the Grand Wizard was just phenomenal. And that guy got heat no matter where he went.
Didn't he manage what's his name? Billy Graham.
Yeah. Superstar Billy Graham.
Like when Billy Graham was champion, the Grand Wizard was his manager.
Yep. Absolutely.
So yeah, I think the Grand Wizard, He's kind of getting lost in history, so I'm glad he's on this.
Yeah, absolutely. He's fantastic, man. I love him. He was a great mouthpiece. I mean, I came into him on the better end of his career. I mean, he died in '85, so I mean, this guy,
That
was
explains why I
way,
don't know him.
yeah, this guy was way more popular in the '70s, '60s, and '70s, and going into the late, early '80s. So, but yeah, he was fantastic. He was. Who's next?
But that is me
Yeah.
with number 16, Mr. Fuji.
Yeah.
Mr. Fuji, iconic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jeremy Isaacs, the F1 expert, he posted this thing to the chat the other day for the Fujis, and it's an album, and it's covered in Mr. Fuji's. The Fujis. That's gold.
Yeah.
But just that little round hat and just a little beard.
Yep.
He didn't say much.
Yeah.
But if he did what he had to, he threw salt in your eyes or that white powder in your eyes and got your team, or he hooked you with a cane.
Yeah. Yep.
So Mr. Fuji, classic heel manager.
Many people don't know. Yeah.
And he was a practical joker. Were you going to say this?
No.
Okay. He liked to pull the ribs.
Yeah.
He was a joker of Owen Hart quality.
Yeah.
He was really good.
Yeah. Not many people know, but he lived in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's where my sister lives. And so he worked at a movie theater where he took tickets. And so you would see him at the movie theater working the stand, taking tickets, is Mr. Fuji. But an absolutely amazing manager. Demolition, Yokozuna, I mean, just to name a few. He was an amazing manager. I loved him with Demolition. And Demolition didn't need him, but he played an important part. Eventually he was phased out of Demolition, but he was a great heel manager, probably one of the best of all time. Joe?
Mr. Fuji is the first right and proper foreign heel that I really remember as a manager. Like, he's what sticks out.
Yeah.
But he was so good at it. Like, he was like, I remember him like doing a fireball, I think in Hogan's face, maybe. I think that's who it was.
Yeah.
Like, he just had this way of really wanting to make you see him get punched in the face.
Yeah.
And that's what a great heel manager should do.
Yep. Yeah. Powers of Pain. That was the other tag team he managed. Missing Link.
Yeah, he switched over, didn't he? He traded and betrayed Demolition.
All right. So I'm next. This is what, 16?
15.
15.
15 for you.
MVP. What a great manager. Fantastic wrestler. A lot of these managers either had horrible wrestling careers or never wrestled a day in their life. They just fit the part of the manager. But MVP was an amazing wrestler, multi-time world champion before he became it. Now, his early management is spotty. Hurt Syndicate and the Hurt Business are probably the two most recognizable. Yeah. Bobby Lashley being one of them. I love MVP. This guy is gold on the mic. Every second he fills with information, things you need to know and understand about the wrestler he's representing. So I love MVP. I think it's perfect where he is. And he probably could go up depending on how well the Hurt Syndicate does while they're in AEW. So we'll see. But it's untapped potential for him at this point. So what do you think, Canada Dry?
Yeah, MVP. Every time he gets that mic, he makes the most of every second with that mic.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't waste any of it. If he gets TV time, he's putting the Hurt Syndicate over. He was putting the Hurt Business over.
Yep.
he didn't get a lot of time with like Omos in WWE.
Yeah.
He didn't get a lot of time for different wrestlers he was managing, but when he did, he made every second count, and that's what you got to do.
Yep, absolutely. What do you think, Joe?
I love MVP. Like, he's so great on the mic. Like, he is one of maybe 2 or 3 current managers that I would say, if you want to be a manager, go watch his tape.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think if we were to do this, revisit this top 25 managers in, say, like 5 years,
Yeah.
I think MVP is at least probably top 10 easily, if not top 5.
Yeah.
I think he has this way, like, he benefits from being a wrestler before.
Yeah.
So he gets that whole, I'm going to build my guys up, but I also have to build up the opponents, which is always key in a promo, because we said it before. If you talk down to your opponent and you beat them, it does nothing for you. And it's even worse if you lose to them.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Absolutely. What do you think, Canada Dry?
Yeah. I already talked about MVP, so.
Okay. All right, let's go to Joe.
Up next is number 14, Sherry Martel. She was great. She was with Macho Man. She managed Shawn Michaels on his initial heel turn. And I don't know if any of you remember, she sang his entrance song before he re-recorded it.
Also Ted DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase. Then there was Kurt Angle. Especially when Angle when Angle was feuding with Shawn. Because she's just great. Like, she was like the complete like the yin and yang of Miss Elizabeth. Like, Miss Elizabeth was pure of heart and soul, and Sherry was just this evil, conniving
hag, just a hag.
Yeah. And she played it perfectly.
Yeah, I love Sherry Martel, especially when she showed up in WWE and she started calling out all the other women. But when she took over for as the Macho King and Macho Queen, it was just awesome.
Yeah.
And sad seeing her come up when Miss Elizabeth came and attacked her to save Macho Man.
Yeah,
that was gold.
Yeah, I love sensational Sherry. I mean, Harlem Heat she managed.
Yeah.
I mean, like the list of like people she has managed and that were champions is unreal, or have become Hall of Famers is unreal. Like, she was a legit great manager, regardless of her sex. She was an amazing manager. So, okay, so I'm next.
No, up next is Canada Dry.
Oh, Canada Dry, yeah.
Yes. Excuse me. Excuse me. I said excuse me. Vicky Guerrero, out of nowhere, becomes this great GM, this great manager.
Yeah, she sort of did both at once.
Yeah. And she out of nowhere, she just exudes this charisma.
Yeah.
And she didn't really carry it over to AEW very well, or AEW didn't know what to do with her.
No.
Yeah.
But
she didn't really fit AEW. Like, let's.
Yeah. But she was good.
Yeah. She was amazing. She's wife of Eddie Guerrero, obviously. Edge, Dolph Ziggler, Nyla Rose. I mean, just to name a few of the people that she managed. I mean, she was so hated. And she shouldn't have been. She's the widow of Eddie Guerrero. I mean, there's no way she should have entered into any position of being one of the most hated managers of all time. And she is.
But that's why she's so good.
Yeah. She took that pain with Eddie and transferred it into an amazing career as a manager. So I have nothing to say but great job to Vicky Guerrero. She was amazing.
I do love that segment The Rock did singing to Vicky.
Yeah.
In Sacramento or San Francisco.
Yeah.
That was a very classic Rock concert.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think about it, Joe?
I mean, yeah, like first off, you got to give props to WWFE at the time for taking care of her after her husband passed away.
Yeah.
So, like, got to give her flowers. But yeah, like, she was, gosh, she made me want to just turn down the volume.
Yeah.
Her screechy voice. It was so good, though. Like,
and she's kind of canceled now because of what went on with her daughter. But
yeah, let's not talk about that here.
Let me just sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
Number 12 goes to JFB.
Number 12. No, number 13.
No, it's number 12.
13.
Oh, okay. Number 12. All right. Sorry. Math's not good. This man exudes what a current manager does in wrestling. Before we get to the former world's heavyweight champion, Swerve Strickland, who he currently manages right now, this man's managed one of the greatest factions of all time in Ring of Honor, that is the Embassy. And we're talking about Prince Nana, for those who have not figured it out yet.
You didn't know about my dance move. What are you doing?
Alex Shelley was managed by Prince Nana. Claudio, Tommaso Ciampa. There were Brian Cage. I mean, there's so many people involved with the Embassy that have come up through Ring of Honor, and they all came through the Embassy to come up as better wrestlers and as better sports entertainers. So he is absolutely amazing. Kendra, your thoughts on Prince Nana?
Yeah, as good as he was in Ring of Honor,
yeah,
he's at his peak right now.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine Swerve without Prince Nana?
I couldn't.
Like, he's they're one. Like, I'm sure you could do it, but it would feel weird for a bit.
Yeah.
Like, him coming along, doing his dance, whose house, Swerve's house, like, that last little bit they did about the robe.
Yeah.
They were able to push that robe and make it valuable. Yeah. So, like, when Swerve wears it now, it's like, oh, the robe.
Yeah.
Like, that's good storytelling.
Yeah. Absolutely. Joe.
Yeah, man. Nana. I agree with you. Like, I don't think Swerve is where he is today without him.
Yeah.
I just, like you said, managers play an integral part in certain characters. And it's not like Swerve can't talk. The man is gold on the mic.
Yeah.
It's just like the ability to play off of each other. And honestly, like this last story they told with Ricochet is a phenomenal story.
Yeah.
Like it like you said, it took a robe and it brought it into current relevance. It's not often that people do that. And it's not like this robe didn't have relevance before. It's literally whoever was the man in charge of Embassy wore that robe.
Yeah.
So it's just, and honestly, like I've said, we talked about this before, just the ability to act and to change like his emotions. Like it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Like it got to the point where I legitimately thought Nana was going to turn on Swerve and join Ricochet.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about like a guy like Prince Nana is now if you're playing an injury angle with Swerve, where he's not there on TV that week, you can put Prince Nana out there as his representative, and everything's still fine. Your story keeps going.
And they've done that. They've done that a couple times. It was good.
All right, let's go to Joe, number 11.
Number 11. Oh, the number one manager I want to see get punched in the face so bad. The man that leads the Callis family, that is Don Callis.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, his work just in AEW alone would get him on this list. But I remember him in WWF as like the Jackal leading. What was it, the Oddities, or was it a different one? I can't remember. But
The Acolytes, the Oddities, the Truth Commission.
Yeah, like he's always taking these most obscure, crazy characters and makes them work. He was also, I remember, he was a representative of like the big corporate of like big networks, like where he was just the one coming in, being the foil to everybody. Like he just always.
Is that TNA?
It was WWF and TNA, maybe? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's great. He's another one. Like I said, you love when he gets punched in the face. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, he was a great wrestler, but he was an even better manager. And I think he's better now in AEW than he was in WWE. And he was fantastic. He was amazing in WWE, but he's even better in AEW. He's just slimy and gooey and everything that a heel manager would. Nothing sticks to him at all. So to me, that says a lot about what makes a great manager. Don Callis fits that bill. What do you think, Canada Dry?
Yeah, Don Callis. He's went to the learning tree, not Chris Jericho. Well, maybe a little bit of Chris Jericho, but get that from Winnipeg. But the learning tree from all these great managers.
Yeah,
like Bobby Heenan and Jimmy the Marshall. Like he clearly studied them because he exudes everything a heel manager is supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and also he's also another one where when he gets on commentary, he's still talking up the opponents and makes them credible threats as well.
Yeah.
Which is always nice.
And at number 11, I would think that Don Callis has room to grow and to climb up this list a bit.
Yeah, especially when he's got someone like Kyle
Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to be on this list for a long time with those guys. So, all right, Canada Dry, let's go number 10.
We're talking the Doctor of Style, Slick. You're a job soul, bro. You're a job soul, bro, when you never get nothing in the end. I love the Doctor of Style, Slick.
Yeah.
I love that song, Jive Soul Bro. When I was a kid and that song played when he was coming out,
yeah,
I would sing along too.
Yeah.
And he's also a guy who's a reverend in real life.
Yeah.
And he's been brought back to perform some weddings in WWE.
Yep.
Dr. Staslick, he managed a good number of people, one-man gang.
Yeah.
Drawing a blank. Who else? He had a big crew.
I mean, Big Boss Man. He repped him. Akeem the Dream. The Iron Sheik and Nikita Koloff. Just to name a few. I mean, he's got a cavalcade, if you will. I love Slick. A cavalcade. I love Slick. I mean, he was a great heel manager because he felt like a used car salesman. Like you felt like you were gonna buy like a lemon, and he polished up a turd and make it look as drivable as possible. So, I really like.
He also did a trade between managers where Slick traded somebody.
Yeah. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I don't really know much. I don't remember him all that well.
Yeah,
but what I do remember is like he seems like the slimy, grimy kind of guy.
Yeah.
They just left a sour taste in your mouth and you didn't want to touch him.
Yep.
That's right. He also was a face manager for Kamala.
Yeah. Yep.
When he turned as a face.
Yep. Absolutely. Gotta love Slick. All right. I'm going to go to number 9. We're going to talk about one of the greatest heel managers of all time, you pencil neck geek. Talking about classy Freddie Blassie. Now, I'm going to give you a quick list.
Now, wait. Wasn't he like a world champion?
He was a world champion. Yeah. He was a classic professional wrestler before injuries took
He was on the Mary Tyler Moore show.
Yeah.
Or sorry, was it Mary Tyler or Dick Van Dyke?
Dick Van Dyke.
Yes, that Mary Tyler Moore was on.
Yeah. Here's some of the managers he's wrestled. Nikolai Volkov, the Iron Sheik, Blackjack Mulligan, High Chief, Peter Maivia, Adrian Adonis, where if you want to get some of his t-shirts, you can go to prowrestlingtees.com/Adrian Adonis.
You'll hear that later again today.
Yeah, Jesse Ventura, Dick Murdoch, Sweet Hansen, Killer Khan, George the Animal Steel, Mr. Fuji, Ivan Koloff, Kamala, Hercules Hernandez, and at one time, Hulk Hogan, as when Hulk Hogan was heel in AWA. When the rock and wrestling connection flowed through, you saw Freddie Blassie at the very last part of his career. He did not last very much longer. He didn't last very much longer. He died very not long after that. He always had a cane, always wore shiny jackets. That's what I remember the best about Freddie Blassie.
He was also famous for this Andy Kaufman special.
Yeah.
Where he sat and ate breakfast with Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
It was called My Breakfast with Andy or My Day with Blassie. I don't know what.
And he managed Muhammad Ali when he fought Antonio Inoki in a wrestler versus boxer exhibition match. He was in the corner of Muhammad Ali. So, which I thought was kind of interesting, is at that time Ali was not really that much of a heel, but Freddie Blassie was. So, but I love Freddie Blassie. I mean, every heel manager owes a debt of gratitude to classy Freddie Blassie. What do you think, Joe?
Once again, he was before my time, but I know the name because I've always seen him in all the video packages. Like, I know he was like one of the OG like heel managers who a lot of people took a lot of cues from.
Yeah.
So you gotta pay respects to those who paved the way for you.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Absolutely.
So not only is he like one of the great managers of all time, like he's just one of the best guys in the business.
Yeah.
Like if you remember, during the WCW invasion angle, they had him like give a speech to the troops.
Yeah. Yep. I do remember
that. That was really cool to give him that honor because he ate, slept, and drank professional wrestling.
Yep. Absolutely.
And, one of the best.
Yep. All right. Canada Dry. Oh, no. Joe.
My turn. Number 8. Coming in. Probably one of my favorite managers of all time. It's J.J. Dillon, the man who managed the Four Horsemen. The most iconic wrestling group, in my opinion, in the history of wrestling. But J.J. Dillon, this man, he didn't just talk the talk. He walked the walk. He took his bumps. I remember him in a War Games match. Like, he's the reason they lost. Like, he took his lickings like a pro. But also, you have Ric Flair. And when you're still known as a great manager, you know you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Like, he's like not just the wrestlers, but like he's just the way he talks. Like he as a kid captivated me. Like I would listen to every word that he said, and I hung on to it.
Yeah. There was nobody better. I mean, he was the quintessential faction manager. I mean, you have some of the best guys on the mic: Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, and he still stood out and still caused fear. And I mean, yeah, WCW shit on him. Eric Bischoff treated him like crap. That's the reason why he
and WWE treated him like shit too.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was a nice guy, and in a world where nice guys don't really finish or last. And he lasted a long ass time being a nice guy, which just goes to show you sometimes. But yeah, I mean, people treated him like crap because he let them. I mean, because he was a nice guy, and they thought they could.
J.J. Dillon was an iconic guy, and had he got to spend some time as a manager in WWE, I think he's much higher on this list.
Yeah.
Like he's 2 4 horsemen in number 8.
Yeah.
The guy, you think of 4 horsemen, you think of J.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. He was the one constant in every iteration of the 4 horsemen.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, Canada Dry number what number? 7? 6?
Number
7.
6.
6.
Number 7.
Oh yeah, number 7. You're right. I just did 8. You're 7. So yeah. Sorry.
I don't know very much about this guy before he was Paul Bearer. Percy Pringle had a nice career before that. But when he managed The Undertaker, he became iconic.
Yep.
The guy, we talked about him turning on The Undertaker and managing Mankind and the axe guy, I forget his name.
The Executioner.
Yeah, the Executioner.
Yeah.
But and Kane, of course. But Paul Bearer pretty much did his whole career as managing one guy.
Yeah.
Like you could probably tell me who he was as Percy Pringle.
Yeah.
JB.
He was just an okay manager. I mean, he wasn't really anything special. It wasn't until he became Paul Bearer that he really took off. I mean, he had an nominal run in independent circuits and the NWA and WCW, but never really took off. He just didn't. He needed the right guy at the right time, and he found him in The Undertaker. And, Kane, Mankind, back with The Undertaker, turned on The Undertaker. I mean, it was an ongoing thing. But yeah, the man with the urn, Paulie, I mean, it was perfect because Undertaker can cut promos. Mark Calloway can cut promos.
Oh, yes.
But when you're the Undertaker and the character he was playing, you didn't want him to say anything. And so he was the perfect foil for the opponents of the Undertaker, because you had to go through Paul Bearer to get to Taker. And that was what was great. And the power within resided in Paul Bearer. And I love that storyline.
He held.
Yeah. So what do you think, Joe?
Yeah, sorry. Give me 1 second.
Shut the hell up. Will you shut that dog up? Don't make me come over there.
Sorry. Hey.
Hey, he listens.
Yeah, she listens. I'm the only one she listens to. But yeah, he's a very interesting character. Like he is, because he's absolutely an extension, but he didn't do any other of the typical managerial things. Like I don't ever remember him like advocating to get him matches or anything like that. It's like he was more like a handler than anything else.
Yeah.
I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And there's really not been anyone since, and honestly, there probably never will be another one again.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the one who came close to me is Father Mitchell for Abyss in TNA. But even he's not even really that close to Paul Bearer.
Father Mitchell was this close to making the list.
Yeah. All right, we're going with I got next. I got number
6.
6.
You might remember him. Most of the people were introduced to Captain Lou Albano via Cyndi Lauper and the Rock and Wrestling Connection. He had a pin in his cheek with the rubber bands. He has managed the Wild Samoans, the U.S. Express, George the Animal Steel, just to name a few. He was a horrible wrestler. That's why he became a manager. He was a horrible, horrible wrestler. Bruno Sammartino actually introduced Vince to the idea of making Captain Lou in Albano because he entertained the boys in the back talking. But he was a horrible, horrible wrestler. And so Vince gave him the option. Lou took it and ran with it. And, I mean, he had a small run as a face when he protected Cyndi Lauper from getting beaten up by the Fabulous Moolah. but he was always known as a heel manager, and he was
What's interesting about that is his face run was more iconic, even though it was shorter.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I don't know what happened that he kind of left the WWE.
Yeah.
But they tried to replace him with
Yeah.
Oliver Humperdinck.
Yeah. Oh,
Very similar with the beard.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
No, it did not.
But they wanted a good guy manager to replace Captain Albano, but they couldn't. Captain Albano also played a pivotal role in a movie. He was Super Mario.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Super Mario so he definitely deserves this spot.
Yeah.
On this list at number 6.
Yeah. What do you think, Joe?
Now, am I imagining this, or did this happen? Wasn't he in Cyndi Lauper's "Girls Just Want to Have Fun"?
Yes, he was.
Played her dad.
Yeah, that's what led him to be a Cyndi Lauper part of the wrestling, because he got pulled into that video because he was like, he's perfect for this.
Like as much as I hate to say it, like that's what I know him for, because he was before my time. That and love the Hawaiian shirts that he always wore. There's just not many people do it, and he stuck out for it. So
yeah. All right, let's go to number 5, Joe.
Okay, so this guy, I hate what he has become today, but we can't deny that he is one of the greatest tag team managers of all time, and that is the man with the tennis racket, Jim Cornette. I have to separate what he currently is from back then, because back then he was such a great manager. Like when he took a tag team, he led them to success. Whether it was Owen and Yoko, who he was part of, or I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember in the NWA. What was the Midnight Express? He was. There are so many different Express teams. I can't keep them straight. But obviously, just the Midnight Express for me is what I remember him the most of. Like always going up against the Rock and Roll Express of Ricky Morton.
Yep.
That feud is an all-time great feud. So
this man, whether you like him or hate him, is probably one of the greatest wrestling historians of all time. The amount that this guy knows about professional wrestling, we couldn't even accompany or embody it. The amount of knowledge in this room alone would fill his pinky with the amount of knowledge he's got about professional wrestling. He always knows the Midnight Express. I'll always remember him as the guy who took the scaffold bump and broke both his legs doing it. He entertains me. I don't always necessarily agree with his takes, but the guy entertains me. And this guy has done everything in professional wrestling. He ran a promotion. He owned a promotion. He booked promotion. He did it all, but on the screen, nobody was.
I loved his character in TNA when he was in charge. He just came in and laid down the law. It was great.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever seen the guy play tennis?
No.
Nope.
He just brings his tennis racket around with him everywhere.
Makes me wonder if it's really wires in that tennis racket. Or if it was just like a piece of metal he used to get to the advantage.
But Jim Cornette definitely deserves the spot at number 5. Iconic manager.
Yeah.
World champions, tag champions, intercontinental champions all over the place. Yokozuna and Owen Hart.
Yeah.
What odd pairing, but Jim Cornette makes it work.
I think we're getting to the point to where 5 through 1 you could sort of intermingle.
Yeah.
5 through 2.
Yeah. All right.
Say 5 through 1.
Right, you're next. Number 4.
Okay, so I wanted to show this comment. I can tell Gary Hart isn't going to make this list. Wrong! Gary Hart is number 4. The guy was freaking amazing. I don't know much about him, but I know JFB wanted him, highly regarded on this list.
Yeah.
And originally it wasn't going to be my selection, but things got switched up. Tell him about Gary Hart.
Gary Hart is probably undeniably one of the most vindictive, violent managers ever in professional wrestling. You did not want to cross this man. This man was primarily a booker, and he enjoyed his majority of his success in world-class championship wrestling. If you want to know the reason why the Freebirds and the Von Erichs had such a great rivalry in those days, Gary Hart's the reason. Gary Hart booked that match. And when he managed the Great Kabuki, One Man Gang, King Kong Bundy, the Samoan SWAT team, Gino Hernandez. You might have heard that name before. Probably one of the staple heels in world-class championship wrestling. Gentleman Chris Adams, Abdullah the Butcher, Al Perez, Jeep Swenson, just to name a few of the people that he has managed over the years. This man looked evil. Undeniably, this man looked like he was going to kick your ass. That's all you need to know about Gary
Why
Hart.
didn't Gary Hart transfer over to WCW or WWE or anything?
Because people did not like him backstage. He was a taskmaster. There was no swaying him either way. If you kissed his ass, you won and you got booked properly. If you didn't kiss his ass, you got booked poorly. That's just how it was with Gary Hart. But he will always be remembered fondly by the fans as probably one of the most devious managers of all time, and a foil to the Von Erichs. I mean,
I'm guessing EVP Joe doesn't know much about him either.
Never heard of the guy before today. Yeah,
But I know from past shows that JFB is fond of Gary Hart.
I'm going to be honest. I saw the name Hart. I just thought he was part of the Hart family.
Yeah, right. I know. I'm JFB is a little bit older, so he's been around a while. So. He's vintage.
Been around a while.
He's vintage.
I'm going to take another Hart, and I'm going to go with the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
Yeah.
Not related to the Hart brothers or the Hart family. What you'll remember him fondly is the bootlicker of Hulk Hogan. This man follows Hulk Hogan everywhere. He has managed the Hart Foundation.
That's right. He managed Great Muta in WCW.
Managed Great Muta in WCW. He has managed Andy Kaufman, the Honky Tonk Man, Bret Hart, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Jerry the King Lawler, Millie Dollar Man, Ted DiBiase, IRS, the Mountie, Natural Disasters, Gino Bravo, and the Nasty Boys, the Giant, and then, of course, Hulk Hogan. He carried a microphone. He has won a Grammy playing with a band. I can't remember the band's name off of him, but that's how he got introduced and started into the business. He was a musician and then started writing music for the wrestlers, and then eventually, because of his charisma, became a manager and was put into that role. Cannon Dry, what do you think about the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart?
The Mouth of the South is another one of those great wrestlers carrying that megaphone.
Yeah.
And he gave a lot of color to his wrestlers that he was managing. Like like the original Hart Foundation, he was pivotal. He often would hit them with the megaphone for them to win the matches.
Yeah.
I believe the megaphone was instrumental in the Hart Foundation winning the tag belts in the first place against the British Bulldogs.
Yep, absolutely.
So, Jamie the Mouse of South Hart managed the greats, like a list of a cavalcade of stars,
a virtual cornucopia, if you will, of
stars
of the 80s and 90s.
Who's who?
All right, let's go to EVP Joe. What do you think about the Mouth of the South?
Look, I love him as a manager, but I wanted to shove that microphone up his ass. I couldn't stand it.
No, but that's the thing. He did his job.
Yeah. I mean, but to me, like, I always associate Honky Tonk Man as a face because I always have seen him with Hogan, and Hogan was always a face.
Yeah.
So, like, it's weird for me to think of the Mouth of the South as a heel manager. It's really weird for me.
Yeah. All right.
yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
No, go ahead. We're good. So my turn. Number 2.
Number 2.
I think it could be number 1, arguably. I know everyone else disagrees. But it's
I'm not,
Paul
I know
Heyman.
what this is. You're a victim of recency.
No,
bias.
nope, you're wrong, and I want to tell you why. So yes, Paul Heyman. We'll start from most current, and we'll go back. So he has Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
He was instrumental in his heel turn. Roman Reigns doesn't get over as a heel without Paul Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
Before that was Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And screw this reason. I'm talking about his early 2000s where Brock was just a beast and he was the mouthpiece for it. And then you have his ECW times. Gloss over that. Didn't really manage much. But then you go back to WCW where he was Paulie Dangerously and he was the leader of the Dangerous Alliance, a who's who of the villains of WCW. You had Stunning Steve Austin, Pillman. You had, who else?
Yeah.
Rick, what am I drawing blank to his name? Rick
Rude.
Rick Rude. He was so great. He always walked around with that massive old school 80s cell phone.
Yep.
He was just great.
It was a status symbol.
Yeah. So like I said, it's not for me, not just recency. Going back to the early 90s, this man was just phenomenal at his job of getting people over.
Yep.
Now, I'll understand, I completely understand why who's number 1 is number 1. I'm just saying there's an argument to be had, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, Paulie Dangerously, Paul Heyman, again, he's very much like a Jim Cornette. He's a Renaissance man in the arena of professional wrestling. He was a photographer. He sold programs, popcorn. The man was a manager. He was a booker. Then he took over a promotion. Then he bought the promotion. Then he bankrupted the promotion. Then he comes back, and then he's on commentary. Then he's the manager again. And this man knows the psychology of professional wrestling, and this is what makes him a great manager. He has made more stars than any manager that's on this list, with the exception of number 1. He took Brock Lesnar and made him the next big thing. You know, the Dangerous Alliance. I mean, he took a guy like Rick Rude, who was on the back end of his career and wasn't really doing anything, and brought him back to the forefront. Steve Austin helped him twice. Not only did he help him with being part of the Dangerous Alliance with the Hollywood Blondes, but when Steve Austin got fired from WCW and was injured, Paul Heyman gave him a platform to cut promos to keep his name going, and that's what gave him the opportunity to go to the WWE. Was the bullshit. He just let him vent about Eric Bischoff on ECW TV for free. Like, that's just brilliant. I love Paul Heyman. I mean, this guy makes kings. He's a kingmaker. And you're right. You're right, Jor. Dangerous Alliance is one of the most underrated factions of all time. And when people talk about factions, rarely do you ever hear the Dangerous Alliance. What do you think, Canada Dry?
Yeah, Paul Heyman. I can guarantee you this, that Triple H is consulting Paul Heyman every step of the way.
He'd be a fool not to.
Yeah, you would be a fool not to. But Paul Heyman, brilliant wrestling mind.
Yeah. Great
Manager, deserving every ounce of this number 2 spot. He's one of the all-time best.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Canada Dry, you got the number 1.
Bobby the Brain Heenan. Now I want to show this comment by Dime Drawer number 4. Heenan got more actual heat than Heyman. That's the difference. Audience is in on the joke with Paul Heyman. They actually wanted to kill Bobby Heenan. They hated him. Bobby Heenan took some great bumps. He had the often he had the neck brace on. When Roddy Piper was supposed to be the top guy to go against Hogan in that golden era, but Roddy Piper wasn't there all the time. He went off to Hollywood to film They Live. Bobby Heenan was Hulk Hogan's genius villain. He was the mastermind against Hulk Hogan. He was the Joker to Hulk Hogan's Batman.
Yeah.
Like, he had that Heenan family, and he would send out his minions to beat the shit out of Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
And Bobby was just a brilliant mind who was there at the right time, at the right place. Now, if you put Paul Heyman there, like you fast forwarded and they're all the same age, maybe he does it and he becomes number one. But he's there at the right time, at the right place. And it's a shame that Eric Bischoff didn't know what he had in Bobby the Brain Heenan. Like, Bobby the Brain says he came up to Eric Bischoff today with some ideas, and Eric Bischoff pissed all over him, said, listen, I call you to do color commentary. I don't want you to think.
Yeah.
And Bobby shut down and just got a paycheck and did his job after that.
Yeah. Yep. It's a shame. I mean, when I think about my first introduction to a really truly heel manager, is Bobby the Brain Heenan. An old woman tried to shoot him at a show. That alone puts you at number one. No one's ever taken a shot at Paul Heyman, but an old lady reached into her purse and pulled out a handgun and tried to shoot Bobby Heenan. That's all you need to be said. Joe, your thoughts on Bobby the Brain Heenan?
Yeah, Heenan is great, but I come from a different era than you guys. So when you tell me Bobby the Brain Heenan, I think commentary. I don't think of him as a manager. And I think that's why I would put Heyman above him. That's just...
Yeah, and that's why I think the recency thing is part of it. Because you didn't live it.
Yeah, I don't think you can call it recency because I'm freaking 40 years old. But yeah, but I completely understand. The Heenan family, iconic. I absolutely understand why Bobby the Brain Heenan is number one. Yeah.
He's an amazing manager. That's all there is to it. I mean, he was a kingmaker before there were people. What can you say? I mean, this guy created the mold, and everybody just bled off of it. That's the end of the show, guys. We had 25 of the greatest wrestling managers. Some of you agreed, some of you doubted us. Gary Hart's not going to make the list. Aha. We joked. We fooled you. So now you want to know how you get a hold of us. Multiple ways to get a hold of us. But if you go down below and go on, you clacking on your keys and your mouse and you move into the cursor, click on those links. They're going to take you directly to us. Now, if you want to go ahead and get a shirt, because everybody has to wear a shirt, because no shirt, no shoes, no service. AFW, Say Pro Wrestling, is probably one of my favorite shirts. You can get it at prowrestlingtees.com/effing wrestling and get all of your AFW merchandise. On behalf of Canada Dry, on behalf of EVP Joe, I am the almighty JFB.
We've been running for an hour and a half, so raise your fists in the air, put the devil in a sharpshooter, and just keep fighting. Hi, this is Alex Haney here. I just want to say why I'm not on the show. But we'll get you in there next week, Alex.
Thanks for tuning in. This has been Tony Schiavone for the All Fan Wrestling Network.
That was the worst Scottish accent